Hi there. I, I didn't expect you to wave me over. No, I don't mean that. I see you're eating lunch. I wouldn't want to interrupt. I just finished my last course for the day. Usually I would just rift home afterward, but I needed to check on something with my advisor. No, no, it's no rush. It's not an appointment. They just have open office hours. Um, sure. Yeah, I can sit for a while. How, um, how has your day been going? Grabbing something to eat before the next class you teach? Mm, nice. Um, I'm just gonna give fair warning. I'm still not the best at small talk. So if things come off a bit awkward, I, I apologize in advance. Well, that's a little different. I, oh no, no, not at all. I take no offense. You're absolutely right about that. I don't struggle at all when the conversation can take a flirtatious spin. It's in my nature. It's where I flourish. And in many contexts, it's my default state. And it's an easy one to live in when the conversations in question aren't important, or at least aren't with someone important. But it's different when I'm speaking to the newfound partner of a friend rather than a stranger I'm never going to see again, or an old friend who I know in and out. I wouldn't want to overstep or misconstrue. That's true. But I also got to know both Damien and Huxley individually before they were a couple. And at this point, I've known them for years. I've learned where the lines are, how far the jokes and harmless flirtations can go without approaching anyone's boundaries, and I stick to that. I look forward to the day when I can say I know you that well too. But until we're there, well, I'm trying to find my footing. And I'm trying to make sure that I do this right. Um, well, right in this case would be, I suppose, whatever makes you feel welcome with the group, with each of us. I came into this group of friends from the outside as well, in a sense. They'd been a group of friends for less time at that point, of course, but in some ways, I felt like I was bringing my own intrinsic outside-ness that made it even more difficult. Not inherently by being a demon amongst humans, but from the way I had approached life as a demon up to that point, I would say. I think that would be the more truthful way to put it. Before I met Freelancer, I had never really had friends. I had known countless people. My life was a revolving door, but no one was a fixture in my life, human or demon. I have a complicated past with my people. My feelings on personhood and identity are often at odds with how other concubi feel. So there's an inherent distance there. And while human company was more accepting in some ways, it was very alienating in others. But then I met them, and they introduced me to Damien and Huxley and reintroduced me to Lasko, and it took some time, but a great friendship formed between all of us. I say all of that to say that I I'm still not the most used to having friends or making them, and never under quite these circumstances, so if I do it wrong, please tell me. Because I want to do it right. I want you to feel as welcomed amongst us as they all made me feel. Well, that's kind of you to say. And I'm glad it's been good so far. But I stand by what I said. If anything I do or don't do is ever not good, just say so. And I'll fix it. I know that of the friend group, you and I have probably spoken the least. Part of that I blame on my own incompetence when it comes to making new friends in general, but I also can admit that another part, perhaps an equally large part, comes from not knowing how best to talk or not talk about Lasko, if you get my meaning. I know he told you that we once had an encounter. I don't think that's something that needs to feel awkward. It certainly hasn't felt that way before now. It's something he and I, and even the other three, have always joked about pretty freely. But just because that's how we feel about it doesn't mean that's how you feel about it. And I want to be respectful of how you feel about it. And I don't ever want to give the wrong impression either. And all of those interwoven thoughts have been running through my head a lot when we're all together. As you can probably tell from how uncharacteristically awkward I can be when it comes to this. Because I don't really know how to bring it up. And I think it's important because you're important. So I guess this is me bringing it up with all the tact of a sledgehammer. I apologize. You have an incredible patience about you, and a kindness. Thank you for that. As I said, I've known countless people, and my demonic abilities give me particular insight into their emotional wherewithal. The depth of your empathy and the generosity with which you offer it are less common than you give yourself credit for. I'm very glad you and Lasko found each other. And I'm glad to get to know you as well. What I want, what would be doing this right, as you asked, in my estimation, would be to make sure that I don't in any way ever make you feel uncomfortable or unwelcome, because that's the exact opposite of what I'd ever want. Lasko is a wonderful person, and he's been a great friend to me. And being with you makes him happier and more at ease than I've ever seen him. And that alone would be reason enough to want to make you feel welcome within the friend group. But then beyond even that, beyond how you fit with the group in relation to Lasko, because I don't want to frame it only in that light. I don't want you to feel like we only care about you as you pertain to Lasko, because that's not the case. And that wouldn't be fair to you. You, yourself, are a person who is incredibly kind and thoughtful, patient, considerate, open to different kinds of people with different kinds of backgrounds and perspectives and personalities. You're a person I would feel honored to know, whether you were dating my friend or not. The world could use a lot more people like you. We're a bit of a motley crew, as you've no doubt seen. It's something of a miracle that we all mesh as well together as we do, to be honest. And I'm the first to admit that I'm probably not the best ambassador for the group. I'm not the easiest person to know, which is probably why we know each other the least of the group so far. I'm not as talkative as Lasko. I'm not as open as Huxley. I'm not as engaged as Damien. I'm not as intuitive as Freelancer. I'm just Gavin. But I just want you to know that I want to know you too, just as much as they do. I'm just not always the best at showing that. But I want to. and I'm excited to get to know you. I'm excited to make a new friend. Sure. Ask away. No, that's not a dumb question at all. The simple answer is demons can eat human food and often like to, but we don't have to. It doesn't help or hurt us. We're beings formed of arcana, so our magic basically destroys it wholesale within us. I don't actually have a stomach or intestines or any organs unless I want them. So, all of that to say, yes, I'll gladly take you up on the offer to share some fries. You'll never catch me saying no to a salty treat.